Let's hear from Scottish Labour now. Their economy spokesperson is Daniel Johnson. Good morning to you, Mr Johnson.
Good morning.
What's your reaction to the announcement? It sounds like good news specifically for the North East, but for the whole of Scotland.
Well, in terms of the investment, yes, that is good news, both for the North East, but more critically, carbon capture is a really vital technology that we need to be investing in. And frankly, the UK government is coming very late to the table in terms of its commitment to this. But one can't help but feel that this is a smokescreen, that Rishi Sunak really is making this announcement so he can make a whole load of other announcements to appeal to his right wing, who don't believe in climate change and want him to extract every last drop, quote unquote. So, yes, we welcome the investment, but let's be clear, this is a government that is acting more to do with its own internal politics than it is to do with our collective interest in achieving net zero.
Well, it's been referred to as a crucial game changer in terms of the carbon capture, creating thousands of new jobs for the area. That must be good news.
Well, absolutely. But you also heard Professor Hazeldine earlier on in your programme saying that the maths when it comes to transition is very finely balanced. So you can't invest in carbon capture and then assume that you can just extract and burn the oil as you please. What we need is a clear and planned trajectory to reduce our extraction, to transition, both in terms of our energy consumption, but also in terms of the jobs that rely on the North Sea. And frankly, we just don't have that plan from the UK government, whereas the Labour Party has set out a very clear plan to invest in renewables and to reduce our reliance on oil and gas, which is something that is completely absent from this tired and out of touch Conservative government.
So what do you make of the proposals to grant more licences for oil and gas drilling in the North Sea? Would a Labour government have granted them?
Well, we've been clear that we wouldn't issue new exploration licences. But that is not to say that if we are elected to government, we would obviously honour any licence that were granted. It's important the industry has stability from that perspective. But really what we need is a clear plan to transition to net zero. And that requires us to recognise that we can't keep extracting more oil and expect to achieve our climate targets. So that's the plan and the position the Labour Party has set out.
When do you think we can no longer extract oil and gas from the North Sea then? Because Keir Starmer says we'll need it from the North Sea into the 2050s. When do you think we can?
It's not that simple, largely because we don't just use oil to burn. We also use it for a whole series of other products, from dyes to pharmaceuticals. So we're going to have a need to extract oil well into this century. But the critical question is, at what point do we stop burning it? Now, I think if we continue to grant new exploration licenses, we're just not on that track. And let's also remember that 80% of our oil is exported. So I think, given that that's the case, this just isn't a credible position that's being adopted by the UK Conservative Party.
If I can ask you in another couple of points, the SNP's written to Sir Keir Starmer asking about whether Labour will scrap the bedroom tax. Will Labour scrap the bedroom tax?
Look, we are experiencing the dying days of a very tired but very chaotic UK Conservative government. So we can't make uncosted pledges ahead of election because we don't know the economy that we will get. Now,
are you costing it? And if you cost it and you can scrap it, will you scrap it?
What we will do is have a clear plan to reform universal credit. What we will do is scrap things such as the punitive sanctions. We will also have a clear plan to increase the minimum wage so that it reflects the real living wage. But what we can't do is, ahead of an election, before we've taken office, make pledges that we just don't know the costs of.
OK, so you're not committing to scrapping the bedroom tax?
Not ahead of an election.
OK.